We are looking at a Sunday Times article in the May 2nd, 2010 edition. In the lifestyle section, White Squatters, Cape Town's Dark Little Secret. The article is entitled Outsiders, Leftover Lives. An increase in white squatter camps in Cape Town bears witness to the hardship of a marginalized community, writes Lynn Sampson. On what used to be a tennis court just outside the Grand West Casino on a piece of hard scrubland is one of the first white squatter camps to spring up in the Cape. So that's the angle the writer's going for. It is a story that there are white squatter camps in South Africa. 16 families live illegally on this provincial department of public works and transport land, and although there is an effort towards order, it is ramshackle. Well, there are 16 families there, and probably not a master carpenter between them. The difficulty, says shack dweller Hester Darryl, is the lack of electricity. Water is also a problem. 2 taps service the whole camp. We are, says one of the inhabitants, like gypsies or even voortrekkers. Although many appear capable of work, they are knocked out by apathy. However, when it comes to arguments, they can be vigorous. Children tear clothes apart in an effort to wrest them from other children, and the neighbors squabble over facilities. My God, those hockey people can fight, says Ann Fakins, an ex-hockey who recently moved into a council house. You can't sleep. They drink and drug and scream. White squatters get little sympathy. Many people believe they are reaping what they sowed, and against the backdrop of millions of homeless blacks, their case is flaky. The problem of poor whites is escalating, says Erica Bota Rousseau from Solidarity Helping Hand. There are 77 white squatter camps outside Pretoria, and now they have started in Cape Town. You will find a lot living in the suburbs, in the backyards of houses. Rousseau says many of the inhabitants come from children's homes and were abandoned by their own parents. They are caught in the poverty loop. We did enroll a little boy in grade R, which is expensive, but his parents kept him out of school for 23 days. The women could get jobs, but they have to make themselves look presentable. We arranged for one of them to go to the hospital to see about her teeth, but she didn't keep the appointment. Bridget Kuhn is good-looking and well-spoken. Until recently, she had a job and lived in a council house with her husband, who works as a tow truck driver, and their children, Zoe 12, Bradley 10, Jamie Lee 4, and Karen 3. In her shack, a small television is attached to a car battery, and curtains divide up the room into compartments. My husband is Afrikaans, says Kuhn, but I am English-speaking. We feel sidelined. We aren't asking for much. We only have 4 portable toilets, and it's not enough for 16 families. We are waiting for a house, but whites are not at the top of the list. And so on my husband's salary, we can't afford to rent. We just go into debt. I'm not staying here because I don't want to pay rent, says Jacques Darryl. I just want my piece of ground. I am a 4th-generation South African, he intones. My grandfather and my father were here. We taught people how to grow grapes. Jacques is well informed on current events. Unemployment is the problem. I worked for a company exporting fruit. In the end, the union organizer became the CEO and I was let go. He rolls himself a cigarette and stares belligerently ahead. So you tell me, what is coming first, the Civil War or the World Cup? While we are visiting, a car draws up with a box of fresh vegetables for each household. We tell people not to take food and clothes, it just keeps them in the state of dependency, says Rousseau. Now, it's not the acceptance of clothes and food that keeps someone dependent on the system. It's the fact that they don't have any money. They don't have money to buy a decent house or rent a decent house, get food, get plumbing, get their kids educated. What Miss Rousseau doesn't seem to understand is that what she said is not a solution. It's not a solution to say, don't accept clothes and food. It keeps you in a state of dependence. That's not a solution. I mean, I understand somewhat that if you keep giving people who can't afford clothes and food and decent sanitation, they'll just expect it. But to her point, I mean, that doesn't really get to the core of the problem. I mean, why can't these people get housing and food and, sanitary things? Bacon also believes charity helps keep them in the poverty zone. These people don't care about houses. They like the way that they live, and if they get a house, they soon lose it. Many of them can work, they just don't want to. As night falls on the camp, the casino metamorphoses into a bonfire of elimination, highlighting the gap between the haves and have-nots. You know what? Says Jacques. One thing is for sure, when the lights go off here, it won't make any difference, because we haven't got electricity. He gives a bitter laugh. And that was from the Sunday edition of the Lifestyles, May 2nd, White Squatters, Cape Town's Dark Little Secret. Okay, and that will do it for this inaugural Desteni TV podcast. I'm Darryl Thomas. We will see you next time.